Hello everyone and welcome back to the DM side. Now, today I'm going to talk about something that is very much a pinch point for the community right now. And I just want to start off with saying that obviously D&D is an evolving game. It is a personal game at home. We play the way we want. The answer to all of these issues is just do it how it works at your table. What is the comfortable way that your players like it, what makes the most sense in the world that you're running. At the end of the day, all the books that we get, all the playtest materials, it is guidance, and the fact is we need to have some kind of foundation to build from. So I get it, and it's playtest materials, so go and put in your personal views in this survey, so that way the foundation material is how you would like it to be, and then that way you can grow it from however you want. So today we're going to be talking about the whole rolling a natural 20 and a crit fail, the things I like about it and the things I don't like about it, because you know what, I have been going back and forth. The second I heard it, I went, I don't like that, and the more that I've done some reading up on it, talking to people in the community, talking with friends about it, running playtest material and seeing how it goes, I'm in two minds. There is the I think it's okay mind, which is at the end of the day, it's going to be fine, change the game how you want. And then there's the mind of coming from a new player perspective and what new DMs and new players aren't comfortable with. So let's talk about the things that I like about it to begin with. Okay, so the thing I like about rolling a natural 20 on an ability check and automatically succeeding is, as a DM, I don't ever have to think about setting DCs higher than 20 anymore. I pretty much can set a 20 DC as the maximum, and that way everyone has a chance of hitting it. I don't need to worry about going 25 for a really tough challenge, because somebody with a -1 in wisdom, for example, is never going to be able to do that, ever. However, now I do like the idea that through all the chances and all the odds against them, there is that 5% chance that they could actually be the one to do it, to pass that test. And that's to say the same for saving throws. So there's been times where I've actually been playing a game and gone, oh wow, the enemy's saving throw against their DC is 22, for example. And I go, oh, I can't even do that with a natural 20. Even if I get a 20, I have a +1 to maybe my wisdom or my intelligence, and so I can't even make the save. So there's no point in even rolling. So I really like that they give that chance, because at least you can roll as a player going, there's a chance that I can do it. So thumbs up there, I think that's a good thing. Something that I do like about it as well is it does bring that excitement of rolling a natural 20 again to the table outside of battle. Now, as a DM, my personal preference for playing is that I am going to, if you roll a 20, I'm going to flare it. I'm going to make it be amazing. I'm going to really give you that extra oomph because you rolled a 20 anyway and you succeeded and you passed. However, now that it's kind of in the rules, it is exciting because it does mean that you succeed, which is great. On the flip side, it does mean that your natural ones can be a little bit scary, because all of a sudden it gives a little bit of permission for not something terrible to happen, but it definitely gives you this permission for something not as great to happen, and you know that it's a fail. So it does create a bit of a give and take, and I don't mind it too much. So now my concerns about rolling a natural 20 as an ability check is the fact that, yes, as a DM or as players, it encourages you to feel comfortable saying this is an impossible task. No, you can't do that. The reason I don't like that is now it doesn't make a conflict between NPCs and characters. It actually creates, in my opinion, a conflict between DM and player. I don't really enjoy when I have to say to my players, no, you can't do that. Rather than a game of chance where we roll dice, should I not always give a roll and just have an impossible check? But then there brings in the question, but the point is it was meant to be impossible anyway, they shouldn't be able to do it. This saves me from accidentally allowing someone to roll to become the king. Now I can say that's not going to happen. My personal fix for this is, I think that they need to reword rolling a natural 20 as a success and reword it into more, it is a success based on the context of the situation. Let's use the whole king situation here. We know the answer is that the king's not going to give up their throne just because you rolled a natural 20 and you said, pretty please make me king. We know that they're going to, I've seen all across Reddit, laugh and go, I like you, I'm not going to kill you. Or I like you and I'm going to give you some extra things because you're funny and you seem like you could probably talk your way out of a paper bag better than most of my entire army. I like that, but it needs the wording, because as an experienced DM, I know I can do that. New DMs have no idea about that. New DMs are going to maybe not feel comfortable saying no to their players, especially to new players who didn't realize you could just say no, you can't do that. So it's going to create conflict at the table. It does mean session 0 becomes more important. However, it becomes more important because something has changed. And so I really hope that they just worded a bit more to add in about that sort of context stuff here, that you'll get the most successful outcome, not you get what you want. Now, if you have ever watched Crit Crab, for example, which is this amazing YouTube channel, I'll link it down below, where this gentleman reads out all of these horror stories of D&D, unfortunately, as much as it pains me to say, there are these DMs and players out there who will use and abuse these rules, even though we know they're flexible and that they can change, to push for what they want. So imagine the unfortunate circumstance of an inexperienced DM coming up against a player who knows like that min-max sort of I want, or vice versa, just two new people who don't really understand what they're doing, and having these problems of, can I roll to see if I can get the magic item off of this person and have it? When the answer is no, you can't. They're never going to give up their most holy item that they have given to them from their god, for example. However, as a new DM, you feel awkward. So it does leave a little bit of an opening for a bit of predatory play against new players and new DMs, unfortunately. Now, in terms of the DM critting, that's a whole nother story. I don't mind that the DM can't crit. It feels a bit weird when you go, oh, it's not a crit for some reason, because we're used to it, but I do like it, and I'll only like it on one condition. The reason that they gave this was, we want monsters, or monsters have a recharge ability. That's kind of their crit, and they get to choose when they do it, and then they have to try and get it back. Now, not every enemy's going to have that. My regular bandits aren't going to have that. And you know what? I'm okay with that. But what I want and what I expect from Wizards, if they're going to do this, is I want more interesting monsters. Maybe the bandits at low level can't crit and they don't have anything interesting. But maybe when the bandits are there fighting with the bandit captain has the ability to crit because of the bandit group there. Or, very similar to Pack Tactics, or maybe they have, similar to parry, whereas a reaction is that they can defend themselves and maybe they get an extra swipe, like a D6 or a D4 damage, because they have stopped you. Something along the lines there. I want some more maneuvers. I want some more interesting monsters. I don't just want everyone gets a breath weapon, which isn't going to happen. So if you're going to take away the crits from the DM, which I totally understand, make your monsters even more interesting. Really give us a reason to go, I don't need crits because I've got this. Now, going back to the ability check, something that I totally forgot. When we were playing in our game, our playtest, it was very, very funny. So I, for one, thought it was hilarious that the D20 roll bypasses, and it says specifically that 20 bypasses only bonuses and penalties to the roll. And so we got a moment where one of our players is playing, I believe it was a rogue, rolled a natural 20 on their initiative, which is an ability, it's a dexterity ability check. And because of that, instead of getting initiative of 25, they got an initiative of 20, which means a 19 was more valuable for them. Just a small thing, but pretty interesting to see. Another thing that happened during our playtest is, because I was playing a cleric, I had spiritual weapon up. Now, it's not a melee weapon attack, and unfortunately, apparently, weapons and unarmed strikes have a special feature for the player, characters called critical hits, whereas the magical weapons don't, and I don't like that. I got a natural 20 on a spiritual weapon attack, I didn't get the crit. That felt odd to me. It felt cheated, and I don't know why I didn't get what everyone else was getting. The way I see this is it feels like what they're trying to do, and again, it's just speculation. We know that melees are a little bit underpowered once you get to certain levels, and the answer is to give them magic, because magic obviously scales really well. And it feels like what they're trying to do is go, okay, why don't we take the crits away from magic, because magic scales, and we'll give only the critical hits in battle to the melee fighters, to buff them. The reason I don't like that is you have to take something away from a whole, almost half of the game, half the other players, just to make the other half feel good. The solution here, and I know it's a little bit of work, make weapons more interesting. Make melees a little bit more buffed to keep up in the later levels. I don't know. Get rid of the champion fighter and just make the crits on 19s and 20s something they get at a certain level, or make the champion ability a feat that can only be taken by melee players, you know, or perhaps break up the battle master and put maneuvers into all of the fighters and the barbarians to make them more interesting. There is a way to do it better than to just take crits away from magic users and give it only to merely fighters and barbarians and attackers. I just think that's how it sort of feels on my end. I could be totally wrong. I just think that's how it looks right now. And finally, talking about inspiration. So we played with the whole, you roll a 20, you get inspiration, you roll a 20 again, and you have inspiration, you just palm it off to a friend. It was fine. It was interesting. It didn't feel earned. At the end of the day, we went, this is cool to have because it means we're going to use inspiration, but none of us felt like we earned it. And I think that's something that's really interesting. In the game Frostmaiden that I am a player in, our DM, we have, as a party, we actually have a group patron who is a noble who's in Luskan, and he's hired us to go up to Frostmaiden to put in, not in a good word, but become friends with him. So when he shows up, all of a sudden we can be like, that guy's really cool. Pretty sure he's just a bad noble who wants lots of money. But the point is, he gives us a gold a day, which covers our room and board for most places. But on top of that, what we get is we get group inspiration. Once every day, we all get an inspiration, and we can't use it on ourselves. We have to give it to another party member during the day. And what that does is it actually makes us work as a team better. And we have to give story reasons why we are giving inspiration or how we are assisting to give them this. And it makes the bonding of the group move quicker because we actually help each other and go, oh, I'll give you inspiration for that. I'm going to go over and I'm actually going to try and like push with them to move something out of the way. Or I'm really far away. I'm just going to shout out encouraging words because I've gotten to know you a little bit better. It encourages you on a story base to actually become closer to your group and give them inspiration from the player, not from the DM. And that's actually worked out really well. The current rule, I don't mind. I think it's cool because you just get a lot of nat 20s, you get a lot of inspiration, and you have more chance of succeeding. I enjoy that. And I like that they're trying to make inspiration more of a thing. So, at the end of the day, that's just my experience with the playtest material. It's just my current thoughts on it. I understand that we can just do whatever the hell we want because at the end of the day, it's our game at our table. But I just want to talk about how I feel about it after doing the playtest material. My initial thoughts were I hate it altogether. However, since doing it, I see the benefits, and I'm just wondering what they'll land on with wording, what they'll land on with actual decisions, and I encourage everyone, just as I have done, to go and fill in the survey so that way, the way you want the foundations to be built for brand new DMs and brand new players is more likely to happen. At the end of the day, comment down below your experience with the playtest material. I love hearing about it. I really would love to know more things that I missed because I did see some stuff online about like grave clerics and nat 20s for DMs not being a thing. There's tons out there. That's just my experience with my current playtest turn. So comment down below your experience, and until the next video, go roll some dice.